and I'm going to get you connected with the resources that will meet your need.
Well, you can, help them on the spiritual side, but yet, I mean, while we're here on earth, we need tangible
Yes,
stuff.
that's right.
That's right.
It's, it's one of those things that can't be helped until, he steps out and says, come up here.
Let's say, for example, the one thing that has been on my heart is that caregivers of those with disabilities have to compete for the same community-based resources as those without disabilities. For example, let's say someone needs food. They go down to Salvation Army, and they have to stand in the same line for qualification to get food as someone that doesn't have those same type of situations to deal with on a daily basis. So we specifically will screen and make sure we have a qualifying process that screens and says there is someone in your home that you provide care for who has a disability. Clearly, that makes you eligible for our resource. Whereas if you go to Salvation Army, they don't screen for that. And that's what we're going to do. It's going to be specific to this population so that they don't have to compete for the same resource. So if you need food, then we're going to look at, we've got qualifying criteria. We're going to look at how many are in your family, what your income is, and then we're going to see, what do we need to do? Do we need to give a gift card for $50? What is the need here? So, and that's going to be our first push on the monetary side will be the food ministry. I can tell you that right now.
And that's where we're depending so much on love offerings by people who just want to share their heart with others by helping us financially.
Right. Now, I know that our church has a food pantry, and we serve, people every Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Right.
But we have to do like a certain area, like in our zip code.
Right.
I don't know, and they are screened to check how many's in the family. And, as well as I do, it's a process. It's a process.
Well, what I'm saying is probably your screening process for those resources do not look at just disability, and that's what I'm trying to do is say let's say that our food resources are specific to caregivers who are providing care for someone with a disability.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's going to be specific.
That's what I'm talking about. The specific. Ours is 75227 specific. That kind of thing.
Right,
so,
right. And that's where I see the need is that there's somewhere to go that is specific to this population and where there's not competing for the same resource. Because many times, although these agencies are great, and I thank God for them, don't get me wrong, but what I am saying is because they also have limited resources, therefore, when you come in, you're probably going to qualify on a once-a-year basis. Say, for example, utility bill. Many agencies say it's once a year, and then you cannot return because you're competing with the same with all people for those resources that are allocated. Another thing I want to see is in our utility program, we want to coordinate our efforts with other community agencies. For example, you've got a $300 utility bill. Wouldn't it be nice to partner with our other nonprofit agencies and ministries that says Matthew Ministries will pick up 100 and then ask our other two agencies out there for them to each pick up 100. That way the burden is not on one ministry. The community is carrying that burden so that person can come back again. And it not because many cases it's not just 1 month. We've got a high unemployment rate, and it's specific not only to those without disabilities. It's specific to those with disabilities. I know that because I serve people through the Department of Assistive and Rehab. So unemployment is high right now, and
unemployment is high, and it's even more difficult for a blind person to get work.
Absolutely.
I mean, to be honest about it, the blind people don't have more trouble getting work than people in wheelchairs do. And it's all because the people have this misconception that, just because the eyes don't work, you can't do other stuff.
That's right. That's exactly right. On behalf of blind people, when I worked at DBS, I had some blind vocational rehab counselor colleagues that would be on the other side of the suite. And I remember being a new employee there, and we would all exchange emails, and I didn't really know everybody there, so I'd get emails just almost in real time. And I was amazed, absolutely amazed. And I would wish that employers and businesses out there could get as amazed as I was. I wouldn't have even known that person was blind had I not been before them. To give our people a chance. And that's the thing that's missing out there with corporate America, is they're not giving our visually impaired and blind people a chance. And they don't understand. So, again, that would be employer education, which really doesn't fall under us right now, but certainly falls under my Life Abilities Inc. company.
Yeah, let's talk about it just a little bit and what it does, because we're soon be out of time. So I want to make sure that it gets at least honorable mention.
Sure. After working for the Division for Blind Services, I had worked for what we call a community rehab program provider, a vendor that provided supported employment and job coaching, etc. And after being a program coordinator, it became clear to me with my credentials and my background that I certainly was eligible to provide that service as an independent. And so I started Life Abilities, Inc. We have a contract with DARS, and both with Division for Blind Services and with Division for Rehab Services. And we receive counselor referrals of consumers who are visually impaired, blind, and with all other disabilities who are seeking to re-enter the workforce. And I will tell you that 2009, 2010, although they were a challenge, 2011 has even been more of a challenge for both DRS and DBS. But that's what we do. We go out and we conduct a community and career support analysis and determine through an evaluation what the skill set is, actually what the strengths are, and then through job development, employer contact, developing business relationships, we seek to place someone with a disability into a job. In this market right now, the jobs that are most difficult to find are those that are more professional, that are degreed positions. Our entry-level positions are very, very much there, especially for our young people. Say, for example, they want to work for Kroger's or, Walmart, for example. Those jobs are still out there. But they're not full-time, they're part-time. And for our people who are visually impaired and blind, there's still a tremendous resistance, even to scheduling an interview if they learn that someone's visually impaired. So it's much a challenge. But that's what we do, and we've been very successful at it. We're just here in the North Texas area. We service Collin, Dallas, Tarrant County, and Rockwall County right now.
Okay, so you're able to get out and help try to find work.
That's correct. I have a staff. I do have a staff. We have departments when we bring people through: an intake department, an application resume department, and a field department. And that's how we move the process through. And our entire staff works all of our referred consumers as a team. And I learned that concept through DARS. Together everyone achieves more, and that's how we approach the actual program model that DARS asks us to do.
I read somewhere that 70% of blind people are unemployed. That's not acceptable.
No, it's not.
And so it's not acceptable, and we really need to work. Now, I know there's a lady who used to work at the Lighthouse. Her name's Teresa. What's her last name is?
Teresa Story.
Yep.
Teresa used to work at the Lighthouse. Yes, and she has a bachelor's degree in rehabilitation studies. Teresa is a career specialist and my vocational adjustment teacher. And she just is outstanding with consumers, whether they have they're visually impaired or blind, although I believe that would be her specialty, and or related disabilities.
Right, and doesn't she pretty much head up the Life Abilities?
Well, she's one of my lead people. Yes, she is. Again, we work as a team. She leads our vocational adjustment training program. She is the designated teacher for that program, and she just does an outstanding job.
Right, and you can contact her at 214-797-4630.
That's correct.
So you can get a hold of her. And I would like to give you these other numbers again, folks. Matthew Ministries, you can contact Sonja Camden, and she's a president and founder. So, but you can contact her, 214-586-1502. And Dorothy, I almost keep forgetting your name, Jonaitis.
Jonaitis, right?
Yeah, and you're a co-founder, and I apologize, but it's a different name. Mm-hmm. And you're director of ministries.
Right.
And they can reach you at 214-629-4513. And so, again, Teresa Story's number is 214-797-4630. And we got a little under 3 minutes. Is there anything you'd like to add before we have to close?
I think one of the things I'd like to add is we're talking just quickly here about the life abilities, but back to Matthew Ministries, we know that it's very difficult to surface those that are in the home that are caregivers. And so one of our goals is to reach out to professional caregivers, to speech therapists, occupational therapists, special ed teachers, so that we can then identify the caregivers that are in the home and need some kind of service.
Well, that's why you need to advertise in all the schools, too, even.
Right.
Every place you can think of that people exist, stick it, a brochure in there, because somewhere, and lots of times if you have somebody with a disability or who needs this kind of care is kind of kept in the background. It's not talked about.
Another thing that I want to mention, Donna, in these closing moments is that Matthew Ministries is also developing a volunteer task force. And I would invite those who are visually impaired, who are blind, and their caregivers to give us a call if they are willing to participate in our efforts in terms of developing the ministry. If they would be interested in serving on our board of directors, we are certainly we are welcoming. We welcome the opportunity to labor together on behalf of the mission that we have towards women, ministry towards women who provide care for those with disabilities.
Well, I want to thank you all for being here today. I didn't even know about Matthew Ministries until earlier this week, and I'm so glad that I was able to talk to you guys and let people know about it. We've been talking with Sonja Camden and Dr. Dorothy Jonaitis, and this is Donna Miller along with sleeping leader dog Carmen. We'll see you on the next edition of Info Talk.
NTRB, North Texas Radio for the Blind, Dallas.